A little over a week ago, the great and lovable Aaron Rodgers, he of 4 snaps this past season, on Pat McAfee's show on this network where there's a giant sign right by my face, decided to imply, this is how most of us take it, imply that talk show host Jimmy Kimmel needed to be worried because he might just be on a Jeffrey Epstein list that was set to come out later that day. He was not. You can now start to understand why, if you're a thinking person, why the Green Bay Packers were content to let Aaron Rodgers walk out the door. In fact, they all but encouraged it. They gave him everything he wanted. Everything he asked from the franchise, they gave it to him. And they still were not a playoff team. They are now, by the way. So they were happy to let him walk. Or not happy. They just wanted to get out of the deal because he is so high maintenance. He's toxic. He's just toxic. Now, the blowback I get for my rant from a week ago, I don't know when that was, that Elon Musk and Aaron Rodgers have allowed themselves to be hijacked by the tinfoil hat right-wing fanboy crowd. I'm argue all you want. Do better than just shut up and die, Jeff. I mean, they do a little better than that. The blowback, of course, is severe. But I know how it works. I get it. When you disagree, instead of arguing the specifics of what I said about him, his contract, his lying up to the NFL about his vax status, and all these things that I would bring up, your argument is just shut up and die. Okay. It's a standard thing. I've yet to hear or read the disagreement that Aaron Rodgers and Elon Musk are out of their lane and things aren't going so well recently because they're out of their lane. And at the very least, it's a bad look and a bad sound for both of them. It's bad for their jobs, what they're doing. It is bad for Aaron Rodgers' job. Again. He hasn't played a lot of football in a while. Hasn't played in the playoffs in quite some time. His employer would like him to just be the employee they would like to have. They're not talk show hosts. Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback who got paid $100 million. He got paid $100 million again for 4 snaps. And as usual, he's acting like a raging fool publicly. How's it all feeling about right now, NFL? How about it, Jets? Are the days easier when he's around? Or are they more difficult? What do you think? Now you're starting to understand what the Packers said. He's not even playing football anymore, and he's a pain in the ass because he's a whiny baby who lies all the time. He's no intellectual giant. He's just the opposite. So was today going to be the day, a week after Jimmy Kimmel rightly said, you don't shut up, you don't take this back, you've got a legal issue on your hand. And I'm not a fan of defamation suits, and trust me, they come up often, and they're usually bogus. That one wasn't bogus. So was today going to be the day that he would apologize after diving head first? I mean, he dove straight in the deep end for a defamation suit with Jimmy Kimmel. Do you think today was the day that the diva that is Aaron Rodgers would decide to apologize and maybe get off the tinfoil hat sites and just shut up and play football, which he hasn't done since September? You think today was the day? You think today was the day that Aaron Rodgers would say, I'm probably going to lay off the anti-vax rants for a while? You think today would be the day? And this is what if you're an anti-vaxxer, you've got to take this in. Okay, don't just scream die. Please take this in. If Aaron Rodgers is the poster child of your anti-vax rants, please do better. Because was today the day that he was going to offer any facts? Was he going to say anything of substance and factual, anything scientific? Was he going to say that today? What do you think? Huh? You think he's going to be sensible today? Not at all. He was a jackass. Yeah, he went all in as usual. It's very predictable. He's always predictable. He's toxic for everything around him, and he backs nothing up. Ever. Today was the day that Aaron Rodgers, like the tinfoil hat crowd, you're very predictable. You're not very deep. You're very predictable. He was as predictable as ever. Today is the day he played the victim, like he always does, once somebody calls him out, because nobody ever has the intellect to call him out and say, whoa, 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 back that up. So he was the victim. Today's the day that he trots out every cliche, every nut job cliche that you can think of, and he does the standard nut job thing, the media, the media, the media. Says a guy getting paid to be in the media. At least back something up with something factual, Mr. Fake Scientist. It's just another day of him scapegoating. He does what he always does. It's a whiny rant, void, got it? Void of any substance. Okay? And by the way, and I know the giant sign is staring at me, but I do have a problem with this. If you have a guest, a paid-for guest or not, and said paid-for guest is going off on tangents about science and things like that, please have the intellectual capability and the professionalism to the audience to ask them, hey, back that up. Just do it. The audience is owed that. He goes off on, like a lot of people, goes off on baseless scientific rants. And then he blames everyone else once he's called out. You know, here's the one thing about Aaron Rodgers, so you anti-vaxxers can appreciate this, and this is a problem. If you're going to be so committed to your argument about the science, okay, fair enough. Know plenty of people. I've come from a city full of people that are into nuts and twigs and don't want anything foreign in their body. Most of all, including me. But you know what he did? He lied. See? He doesn't believe in it, because if he believed in it, he would have stood up when he got busted for lying about the vaccine when the NFL Players Association, of which he's a member, agreed to the anti-vax policy of the NFL. Now, if Aaron Rodgers or anybody that's intellectually capable, I guess that's important there, but if you're so sincere and so honest and you're so committed to your belief about vaccines, don't lie, you baby. Don't get up in front of everybody just so you can play and get your paycheck. Aaron Rodgers has every opportunity in his career over the past 2 years to say, I'm not going to get the vax, and let me tell you why. Boom. Tell everyone. Go ahead. Instead, he lied about it and got caught in the lie and then whined and cried and blamed media, blah, 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 blah. Got it? It's hard to believe in people who don't have the stones to stand up and back themselves up. And anti-vaxxers, he's not a good poster child for you. He's spineless. So today he did the very predictable thing. And now I think a lot of people are in a really bad spot, and should be, to be honest, including the talk show hosts. Got to do better. Got to challenge. I don't know what the network's going to do, ESPN. Maybe nothing. I don't know. So here goes. First up is Jimmy Kimmel knows that the Aaron Rodgers paid-for appearance is coming today, and he's got to say something about this, of which he did. Jimmy Kimmel, he went off on him.
Of 2024, which is already a crazy year, particularly for me. Did you hear this story about me and Aaron Rodgers, the former quarterback for the Packers? All right, so what happened is he's a Jets quarterback now. He went on a show on ESPN, the Pat McAfee show, and out of the blue insinuated that I was nervous because the Jeffrey Epstein list was coming out. He said I was hoping it wouldn't, and that he was going to pop a bottle of something to celebrate when he did. And then it did come out. And of course, my name wasn't on it and isn't on it and won't ever be on. I don't know Jeffrey Epstein. I've never met Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not on a list. I was not on a plane or an island or anything ever. And I suggested that if Aaron wanted to make false and very damaging statements like that we should do it in court so he could share his proof with like a judge. Because, when you hear a guy who won a Super Bowl and did all the State Farm commercials say something like this, a lot of people believe it. A lot of delusional people honestly believe I am meeting up with Tom Hanks and Oprah at Shakey's once a week to eat pizza and drink the blood of children. And I know this because I hear from these people often. My wife hears from them. My kids hear from them. My poor mailman hears from these people. And now we're hearing from lots more of them thanks to Aaron Rodgers, who I guess believes one of two things. Either he actually believes my name was going to be on Epstein's list, which is insane, or the more likely scenario is he doesn't actually believe that. He just said it because he's mad at me for making fun of his top knot and his lies about being vaccinated.
Okay, so that goes on for a while. It's pretty funny. I mean, I don't... He's a talk show host. That's what talk show hosts do. So, here's a chance... Here's a chance for Aaron Rodgers. Don't do this thing with me. Oh, but Jeff, you can say whatever he wants. You're exactly right. He can't. We'll see. Just keep it up. Keep it up. Say whatever you want. Pretend that what you're saying is factual and make the claim that people have committed crime and see how that works out for you. But yes, he can say what he wants. So Aaron Rodgers has a chance today, and he did try. He tried this. In fairness, he tried this, and it could have gone. If he wasn't a diva, a cliche-based diva who trots out the same storylines and never backs himself up, he could have easily done this. Whoa. I know. Heard the deal last night. Jimmy and I have been at each other for quite some time publicly. Let me just be clear about this. I never meant nor wanted to imply that he had anything to do with Epstein. That's not what I meant. I get why people would take it that way, but it's not what I meant. What I meant was he screamed at me and made fun of me because I said there was a list. In fact, there is a list. So it was as simple as that. I didn't mean anything like that. Yeah. So last night's game, Pat, blah blah blah. There you go. You think he did that? Do you? You think he could hold it in, not to go in Fauci land, not to go, I know what I'm talking about land? Of course not. He went all in again, and I think it will create real problems for a lot of people. As usual, anyone near him finds that he's toxic.
Listen, jokes aside, I'd really like to get into this and then let's just move on. So the history of this, before I get into what I said, what I actually said, and how I feel about all that, the history of this, whatever this is between Jimmy and I, this goes back to COVID times, right? And in COVID times, he mentioned on his show jokes about my immunization, which I know you also made a little joke about it. I'm not going to get into that whole thing. I've talked many times about that, but I made a joke about that.
And he'll talk more about it.
And the fact that, my own research, he didn't just stop there, though. He made a lot of other comments about unvaccinated people, mentioning that they don't deserve treatment. If they're at a hospital, they shouldn't be given a hospital bed. He made comments about repurposed drugs that were being used all over the world that have incredible safety profiles. That were derogatory. He mentioned ivermectin being horse-based and pushed that whole narrative for a long time. He gave a platform to one of the biggest spreaders of misinformation during the COVID times, Dr. Fauci. So in my opinion, he ripped me about the vax. And that turns out to be an L on many occasions because the vax was not safe and effective we were told that it was in the beginning. There are a lot of injuries now that we've seen related to the vaccine. So in my opinion, you went after me. That's fine. You're a comedian. Go for it. Not offended, but that was an L. Fast forward to, again, unprompted. We're talking on our show as we do about a lot of different topics. Somehow the Epstein client list comes up. And I said, it's interesting, and there were for a long time. Even still, there hasn't been a list that's been released. There's been one person's, deposition from a 2015 case, right? But we said there's an excitement to expose corruption. And what I joked about the other day about popping a bottle, there's excitement about when the corruption anywhere gets exposed and people who are accused of these heinous crimes get exposed. That will be nice, that we can get this all out in the open. That's not there. So
okay,
I made
we'll
this
stop there.
Comment
because why am I stopping there? Because he never says anything. As usual, people that do this just never state anything. It's not safe and this and that. You throw around all these cliches without ever saying anything of substance. There's not a list, but I'm going to mention a list. I'm not offended by it, but I'm going to talk endlessly about being offended. I'm not really going to get into the vax thing, but I'm going to talk a lot about the vax thing. Oh, okay. It's just it's circling around and around and around. Just remember, before you go shut up and die Ward, I know how it works, he stood up when he had a chance to make all of his scientific claims, to do this joyous thing that he loves to do to out corruption, right? This man is going to go Alex Jones on you, which is what this is, and say, I'm going to out corruption. He had a chance. He had an entire news conference. And he lied. He didn't back you up, anti-vaxxers. He didn't back you up at all. He weaseled his way out and then blamed it. Media twisted everything. Everyone's twisting everything. You never say anything, man. Say something of substance. And yes, I do believe somebody should have jumped in during that rant and said, oh, hang on. You just said Fauci lied. Just do this, man. Just give me an example. You said it's not safe. Give me an example. Go ahead. I know, it's nauseating. The byproduct of this, I think, now gets pretty interesting. I think a lot of people it's kind of harmless. Maybe it is. I don't think he did go out of his way to not. He didn't apologize to Kimmel. He said it wasn't about that, and you're not a pedophile. It was about the list. And so, I guess that's satisfied. I don't know if that completely satisfies the defamation case or not. Either way. So if you want to say nothing comes of this, he'll be back as a guest. Maybe. It's just usual. Just notice what the Green Bay Packers had it right. Please go away. Just get out of here, man. You are a hassle. Could you ever just shut up and play? Because he's great, and I'm sure he's a good teammate. I guess. I don't know. Another day for the Jets. Another day for the NFL. Another day for anyone around the guy who rambles so much, you now see why he's toxic.